I don't think I've ever been as emotionally affected watching a film as I was this one.
I think that's the point in the film where you really start to think. To me, it was like, what's the point in anything?
Why?
Hello, welcome back to the Pod Blank podcast with me, Ben Hubert.
Finn Miller.
Dan Jones.
Tom Potter.
And Charlie Martin.
Nice.
We're taking him off.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today, boys?
So, yeah, a ghost story. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch it before the podcast. Or don't. I don't mind. It's up to you.
We'll spoil it. We'll spoil it for you
yeah.
right now.
There is spoilers. So, basically, I want first opinions. That's what I want. I don't know what you guys
For
think.
context, me and Ben have both seen this before.
Yes.
And we both very much love it. But the
Last
other three
week-
have not seen it.
Last week, me and Charlie said we'd try and hate it. Personally, I found that very difficult. After
It was
watching the
it
first
was
time.
really, really difficult. I was trying really hard around the start, especially around the 10-minute pie eating scene. I was like, this idiot film thinks it can have a 10-minute pie eating scene. You've only got 90 minutes, mate. You don't have time for the pie eating scene. Turns out it had fair time for the pie eating scene, and it used it very well.
And the pie eating scene meant a whole bunch as well.
I'm not even
1,000
convinced
words.
it did. I'm just glad it's in there.
I think that's an
Damn,
important,
we'll
that's a
eat some
very
pie.
important moment. But
Yeah.
there was one bit that I was like, get rid of that, mate.
Okay.
That I didn't like.
Oh.
But I'll get onto that later. I want to talk about it.
Okay.
Cliffhanger.
Just
Overall, I think it was extremely emotionally numbing, and just like, yeah, it was just like a very, very sad film. I think over anything, it's really, really sad.
Saddest film I've ever seen, probably.
It's just very.
I didn't
very
feel
bleak.
sad at the end, though. I didn't feel sad.
I
No,
don't.
it's-
I don't.
It's
feel
like
sad
weirdly
at-
afterwards you don't feel that sad, but like
And I
it's
wasn't
kind of just like the concept of it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
it's
That's
like
true.
if that was
It's
real.
coming off.
It's like if
Yeah.
that was real, oh mate, that'd be so peak, wouldn't it? Just like if that's how you had to live your life. Like,
Yeah, I don't think it's the the story in itself that makes you sad. The poor ghost himself and his
Yeah.
situation. It's more the way it makes you feel. Like it conveys this whole idea of time and legacy and whatnot, which I think
Mhm.
is the decisive factor in how you feel.
yeah, true. And oh my god, the cinematography. Jesus,
Oh yeah, some shots are
Christ, mate.
incredible.
it's unreal.
Stupid,
Yeah.
beautiful film.
Yeah.
The thing is, I've actually watched the film twice since you last told me to watch it. I watched it on the first night when you said, and
Yeah.
then I watched it a couple of nights ago.
Mhm.
The second time watching it, I didn't enjoy it as much.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's something that happens when you watch films anyway. But
Yeah.
I felt like it was first time watching it because like I exposed myself to it as much as I could, and I felt the second time it wasn't as authentic. I don't know. I feel like it's something you can only really watch once. Unlike last week where we watched Dazed and Confused, you can watch it 100 times. But I feel like this film you can only really watch once and get the full experience from it rather than.
I agree. This film is definitely like I agree. It's like a really, really good and like emotionally intense like audio visual experience to go through. But I don't think it's got the rewatchability, which like might take some points off it, but like still really like significant.
Gonna be
It feels
controversial.
significant. Watching it feels significant.
Gonna
Yeah.
be controversial here. I disagree with both of you.
And that's what this podcast is about. This ain't no echo chamber.
Tensions. No.
Watch and learn how discourse is handled, okay?
No, I just think that like there's obviously a lot that the director is trying to say in this film, and I just don't think that I would have picked it all up in one viewing of it. It's basically what I
Yeah,
feel like.
100%.
That's also true. Yeah, I
100%.
also agree with that as well. Because there's some things I picked up in the second time of watching it, which like audio things. Because I heard, the sound of him with the
scratching at the start.
the scratching. I could hear that at the start of the film. I didn't know that
Wait,
the first time I watched it.
That is
Obviously, I
so
didn't.
insane.
I completely
Oh,
ignored
wait.
that.
Yeah.
unreal.
it just, as soon as you see it, when you watch it the second time and you hear that, your mind instantly goes,
But I
Can't-
bet there's
it's
loads of stuff like that on the second viewing where you realise that like, oh, the loop is like already
Yeah.
presented in front of you, but it just had the
Yeah.
pieces haven't come together yet,
Mhm.
which is very clever, I think. Very, very.
I
good
had
writing.
that. I had that a lot, like with that second viewing thing, because the first time I watched this was literally like in April last year, and I hadn't seen it since. And the first time I watched it, you know, when you watch a film, it's a bit like what Charlie said about Dazed and Confused, where you watch a film and you come around to watching it at the exact perfect time in your life to actually watch it. That's what happened to me with this film. The first time I watched it, because we were in like the first lockdown, I was in a very like detached headspace. This film like just like hit me like so hard.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever been as emotionally affected watching a film as I was this one, potentially ever.
It's such a gut punch, isn't it?
Yeah, it like hurts.
Yeah.
The bit when like there's a few certain bits where it just like it like hurts to see what is happening to this character, which like overly is like unreal. I think how you connect with this sheet. It is literally a
crazy,
sheet. No dialogue, no facial expression, just through its body movement.
And like
You
it's not
connect
even
with this
you. It's not even like they're humanized in a way that you knew who they were, because by the end of the film they feel complete like they, or even as soon as they turn
as soon
into
as
the
they turn
ghost
into
or
the
whatever,
ghost,
they're
like-
completely different from the character that they were, but you still
definitely.
connect with them anyway.
Yeah, none of the characters have names in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like C
Like,
and
you never
M
know anyone's names. Yeah.
in
I
the
mean, I think
credits.
that the estate agent's called Linda.
Yeah,
because
Linda's.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it
but
once.
like
Apart from
you know what
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
like the main characters and all that. But yeah, no. Just going back to what I was saying, like I hadn't seen it for like however many months it's been, but coming back and watching it a second time was like it was kind of, I literally watched it today, but it's a really strange experience having such a gap and then watching it again. And it was exactly what Dan said, but like to a ridiculous degree of I viewed it from, because the first time I watched it, I was so overwhelmed by the emotionality or like the emotional aspect of it so much that I couldn't really look at it from any other perspective. But this time I picked up on so many like little things that I think made me respect it as a film that I maybe didn't like get before.
Yeah.
But
I think it's like really
Yeah.
cleverly written from like the way it's structured and stuff like that. Like
because it loops all the way around the whole way. Another thing I want to ask: what do you think of the fact that, I mean, we've touched on it, but the ghost being such a stereotypical like kids idea of a ghost?
I loved it. I love that.
I think it's good. I think
That's,
it works quite well because.
yeah.
But the one thing I want to say is the fact that you see it, you see the sheet, and the first emotion you have is like laughter. You find it funny, you find it happy. I think that's the whole point of it, because like to be laughing at something, that's like a gateway emotion, isn't it? It's to like let you into the whole film. Because like, if you get sad at the start of the film and you kind of reject the film, I feel.
You'll
But
be
as
depressed and
as
just-
it, yeah, as you're happy at the start, you're like laughing at the whole idea of it. You kind of open yourself up to the emotions that the film actually gives you in the end.
yeah. I think
I think
the
Oh,
fact
sorry.
that it is that classic stereotype of what a child would dress up as Halloween if they went as a ghost is like what the like it's like the core thing that you as the viewer cling on to, and that's how you connect to that character, I think, and how you feel
It gives
for
it a
because
universality.
it's like it almost, I don't know if it feels like nostalgic almost, because it's like
Yeah,
that's what you would have
think
thought as a child, and it's like showing this as real, and you're like, oh wait, this is showing it as like you were right all along. That's what ghosts are like, and that's what death is like essentially. And it's like,
And when you're a kid, you're more open to ideas of ghosts and things, so it sort of brings back that old feeling when you were younger of ghosts being real, if you like.
I think it's genius to have it as that. It is such a universally recognized thing, like representation of that is like a soul or a ghost or whatever. But it's so simple, and because it's a physical element, I think the minimalism of it is way more powerful. The fact that like it's just like the black eyes, like the black abyss behind the sheet. I don't know what it is, but the first, like when you have those shots that like track in onto like that just abyss that's under the sheet, it makes you feel something when there's no performance there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All it is eye holes cut out in a sheet, but you feel the emotion.
Yeah.
I think the way
I think
the depth. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Go on. Yeah, no, just saying, coming back to the sheet and the eyes thing, I think there is some slight changes in the droopiness of the eyes and stuff like that, because you think at the start of the film, it's all very sharp and straight and ironed and everything, but you can see progressively at the end of the film the eyes start to get a bit longer. You can tell he's been there for a while. The sheet's all dirty. I think that's one thing that I think you wouldn't be able to do in CGI if you hadn't had the sheet on.
Yeah,
like the whole dirtiness and stuff.
Moments where the like eye holes like move and they like look sad. I don't know if you like noticed it, but
really,
yeah, there's like bits where I was like, oh wait, the sheet like actually looks like it's made a sad expression just through the eyes.
Oh, they could just like do a close up of it and then like tug at the bottom.
Yeah, and it
just makes
sort of
them
like
that.
droop and sort of like turn slightly.
Mad.
Yeah, it's just that is like, but it wasn't even like it was like, oh look at this close up, like oh the ghost is sad, guys. It was just like a general like wide shot of him like turning around and looking at something, and it just sort of happens almost.
But I think that's the genius of it, that you like. My point is,
I can't do this anymore.
the genius of it is that by being a viewer, you kind of project. It forces you to project your own emotions onto this character, because you're not seeing them go, I'm so sad. Da, da, da. It's just like this vacant character that's observing, and it gives you an indication of an emotion, but obviously through editing and soundtrack it amplifies that a bit, but then I feel like it gives a bit of breathing room for you as an audience member to just like project your own feelings onto it, which is why I think it resonates. That character resonates so much.
I felt like I had a lot of control over the film. I don't like, obviously you don't because you're just watching it, but like, I felt like I could, I don't know, it's difficult to explain really, but like I felt like a lot of emotion obviously through the whole film, and like yeah, that's my point really. I've not got much to say. I don't know.
That's an interesting point. It was like partway through the film, I think it was in the scene where she was like moving out. She had like packed all the stuff and she was driving away, and like all the music was swelling and stuff. And I was like, this makes me feel sad and uneasy, and I'm trying to resist it. Like I was like I was fighting film. That's what makes it so physically or like mentally
it's like tiring,
exhausting,
isn't it? It was just
to watch. Yeah.
Like, oh god.
But then it was that scene. I was like, but this soundtrack is just sweeping me away. Like it was just like swelling in and out, and I was like, this is phenomenal. And I'm not gonna. I was literally just like.
I was so relaxed watching this film. Like I was watching it in my bed, and I actually genuinely physically felt relaxed after watching it, whilst I was watching it. I thought that was an amazing emotion. I've never made no films ever actually given me a physical emotion apart from when I seen Megan Fox in Transformers and I got phone that one time.
I had a different feeling. Like I suppose when I was watching it, I was relaxed, but then after the film, like immediately, as soon as I watched it, I thought about it for a few minutes. I was like, oh my god. And then like my mind just turmoiled. It's like it has such a massive, like it gives you such weird feelings.
So what's your like story with the film, Ben? Like when you like first watched it and stuff, and on the second watch as well, how have your thoughts like changed?
I mean, I like it just as much as I don't like it any less, but a bit like what Dan was saying, when you watch it the first time, you're new to the experience. You haven't felt that way before. You haven't seen it. So it all feels very fresh. Watching it a second time and a third time, I think the second time I watched it was more because of how much I enjoyed it the first time. I was like, I need to see this again. And like picked up on so many other things in the film. And don't know what I was going to say.
Third time watching it.
Third time?
Third time watching. My opinion of it hasn't changed at all. I don't get affected by it as much. That's the only difference. And then
I think yeah, go on.
No, you go.
Well, I was saying that whole idea you don't feel affected by it as much is because I think the first time is so like emotionally draining and like effective.
Yeah,
that, like, it kind of
so
desensitizes you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
it's so
exactly.
cathartic.
It's
isn't
like
it?
your
The
first
first time. Yeah.
The first time I watched the first time I watched this, because I know I convinced Ben to. I'm pretty sure you watched it the same night, because I watched it, and then it was like quite late at night. We went on Discord and we played Warzone. And then I was just like, guys, I can't fucking concentrate. I'm like reevaluating my life.
Yeah, you said this last episode.
We were up on that bit with the 2 towers, weren't we?
Yeah.
And with the staircase. And
And I was just looking.
we were literally like, we had to go. Zone was coming in hard on us, and we were like, Tom, come on. He was like, guys, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Parachutes into the zone.
And then that same night, I was like, Ben, you need to watch this. And Ben literally watched it for the first time that same night, I think.
Because the trailer as well. Sorry, go.
Story.
Yeah, no, I think like basically what you were saying about how it's such like the first time you see it, it's like such an experience emotionally, because like overall it's just like a extremely unique like experience from a film to have, really.
Yeah.
Like there's not really something that I've seen that's kind of like it, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's like some sort of odyssey, you know, even though he barely moves.
It really is, isn't
even
it?
though like nothing, he doesn't even move from the same, like, you know, 10 square meters.
Yeah.
But like it still feels like such a journey anyway.
And that's something that
the time is the actual journey he's taking, isn't it? It's not the physical journey of moving.
Yeah.
It's the actual time. It's like what takes him, and that's a long journey.
And I think that's why it's like so sick, that especially like the editing in this film I think is really sick, because as we mentioned, the pie scene.
Yes,
that scene is a long, very long scene for quite a relatively short film. Or it like feels quite long, doesn't it? And
it's not just a scene though; it's a shot.
Yeah,
it's all one shot.
And it's like I was watching it. I was like, okay, I've seen Wayne Rooney Mara eating enough pie now. Like, can you move on? But then it's like you always it moves to the thing, and you see him just watching her do it. And it just like shows that like how infinite his life, like not even life, but like how infinite his experiences are going to be now, just looking at a person that he loved and now he can't.
And hats off to her.
I think like with that, because what this film does so well for like with that like time element is like it's so good at like having that contrast between some of the film when it wants to explore, like, because it's like that contrast between momentary, like a moment can feel like an eternity, but at the same time 100 years can feel like a split second. And that's what this film does so well, like that, because of how emotionally poignant that moment was, they stretch it out for as long as possible. But then he literally goes into another room and goes around and turns around, and then all of a sudden a whole new family has moved in, and like 6 months have gone past in literally like that. And I feel like that perfectly captures how we as humans like experience life, because sometimes you have those moments that feel like literally an eternity, like you can think back to that moment and you're like can almost relive it in your mind because it's such a poignant thing, but in reality it only lasted like a minute. But then there's literally the time between you and that moment, it's been like 2 years, but that's just gone like that. And I think the way this film explores that also through framing, because like when it really wants to draw out time, it's really like detached static shots, but then when it wants to like take you through the like flowing nature of time, all the shots are like handheld, flowing, really like lots of movement.
Because it always happens when he walks through the house and it's like into another room, the family's now gone, these new people come in, it's just like
I think it really quickly establishes that like slow reality of time, and in doing that at the start of the film, when you first view it, it really makes you question, why is everything taking so long? Like, it doesn't feel quite right. And I think it's only when you then start to see the second half of the film, when things start to, like speed up and everything, that you get a like subconscious idea of the massiveness of time.
Yeah.
And like the portion that was stretched out over, must have been half the film, I reckon, that was really slow. You come to realize like that was such a small like piece of time on the scale of like time itself. And then it goes even further where it loops back in time, and then it's like that's where my mind completely boggled, because it goes from really slow to really fast, and then it loops back, and it's just like,
Well, it was because of what the guy was saying at the party. So like the universe will keep expanding, and then it will shrink to like really, really small, to a grain that we can't even see, but then it just starts going again.
Yeah.
And then like that can happen infinite amount of times. So technically he could literally just wait long enough for the exact same thing to happen again. If he just stays still.
Yeah, I do. I love the monologue. I think that's the point in the film where you really start to think, like, to me, it was like, what's the point in anything? Because he says, I wrote down a quote. He says, everything that ever made you feel big or stand up tall, it'll all go. And then I was
I'm going to be controversial.
It's like
again,
pretty nihilistic, isn't it?
Yeah, serious party.
I'm about to be controversial again, boys. This bit was the bit that I really did not like about Ghost Story.
Oh, that's what a lot of people complain about, to be fair.
I thought this was it mainly because it's like kind of like, oh, you've straight up told me what you're trying to say.
Yeah, was it
You were doing such a sick job with visually telling me what you were doing.
It's a bit of a hollow mind.
Yeah.
A bit of a hollow mind. Yeah.
No, but then also it's kind of just like what he's saying about how it's like your legacy is like literally worth nothing because everyone will be dead and everyone will remember you. It's like I just like don't agree with pretty much anything that guy says, and I don't know if that was the point or if it wasn't. I don't know, because I just like I don't really see it like that.
Well, we're not supposed to be that way in life, are we? If you did, you wouldn't achieve anything, because his idea is, what is the point?
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. That's why I think that whole scene adds very little to like.
I completely disagree. Like, I don't completely disagree, because I can like acknowledge why people wouldn't like that scene, because to a certain degree it is very on the nose, but I think it's very self-aware of what it's doing in that scene, because it's not only going, this is what I've been telling you the whole time, it also brings in that extra level of like, it kind of extends what it's been doing the whole film a little bit further, because not only is it exploring that idea of like human legacy, and that realistically it's all futile anyway because it's not worth anything, because it's all going to go anyway, but it's like, it's just that thing of like, it for me, it was the bit where he's talking about Beethoven's symphony thing, and the fact of having that, like, things that, because he then ends up like disagreeing with himself and saying that it's all pointless anyway and being very nihilistic, but like when he says about Beethoven's like symphony or whatever, and the fact that in millions year time or whatever, it can still, those sound waves can still bring an emotion to someone a million years down the way, and that transcends time and reality and everything, just the human experience, or not even human experience, just experience. That to me spoke words that kind of the rest of the film does in elements, but I think the way it's written there hit the nail on the head so well with me of what the film is about when it comes to legacy. So although on one hand I'm like saying I agree that in some ways it's a bit on the nose, but I think the way it's actually handled is really like, because if you remove that from the film, I think it would feel like it's missing something.
I think it's a matter of the film has everything that it needs to portray this idea of time and legacy, but for me, I couldn't personally I knew I felt weird about it and all, but I couldn't quite grasp exactly what it was. And I think in him explaining everything like that, it just it fueled the fire for the film in terms of what I could understand from it. I think it's the main thing.
I see what you guys are saying. It's just, for me, like personally, I found it just weird that he would say all this like stuff about it being pointless and worthless, and then also saying the thing about how the Beethoven thing gives you hope, like years down the line, which is the only part of it that I genuinely agreed with. Which I was like, yeah, that's fair. That's kind
That's
of
the whole point.
like I feel like he should have like flipped it so that it was more about how it's like even the smallest little things can mean a lot to people, even like years down the line. Like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like,
But
So, like,
I thought the
when-
complex. Yes, go.
because I think it
sorry.
it's such a sad film anyway.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't finished. Go now.
It's not important.
Ben can just
I was just gonna say when Florida starts flooding, someone out there might watch our podcast and just feel like, you know what, it was all worth it, and it doesn't matter if my house sinks now because I watched the Point Blank podcast. So.
Exactly.
Life was worth it.
Yeah,
But I think that
yeah.
that his having that complexity within his monologue, I think that your critique of it is that you don't agree with what he's saying.
Yeah,
but I think that the fact that there's the complexity in what he's saying, because I think everything he says is true. I think both of what he says is true, because he's not wrong to say everything is pointless, because if you look at it from an objective, unemotional standpoint, it is. But then earlier, he's also talking about from an experiential, like emotional standpoint of, we know what emotion is. To us, emotion has value, but from a detached perspective, emotion doesn't mean anything, which is kind of what he's saying. So everything he says is true, but it depends on what your values are. And as a human being, you value emotion, so you're going to disagree with him saying that it's all pointless. But it is.
Yeah,
Sorry, Ben.
I don't know.
What are you going to say?
I think one other thing that scene, I think there's two scenes in the film where it sort of slightly breaks away from the norm in how the rest of it's put together, is like that scene and the one where there's the subtitled conversation between the ghost we follow and the one next door, and it gives that comic relief there where it is kind of funny. You look at it and it's like it's a bit of a joke.
I found it really sad. Especially when the houses get demolished and the other ghost just gives up on whatever it was holding on, just because it realizes that it's all gone. Like that's
crushing. That is
like it.
I don't think
that's
coming, and then just
I think to me that was showing someone going through the same thing as our protagonist, but they fail and they quit and they give up on whatever it is. We don't even fully understand what it is. I didn't actually realize that he was waiting to see the piece of paper until towards the end, when he comes back to the house and starts scratching away again. But like it's like just showing that what they're showing you is there is something coming almost, you know what I mean? And there'll be there's like even worse consequences if he doesn't wait there.
What did you guys think was written on the bit of paper?
I just
love you, bye.
Like,
peace out. No, I thought it's
his peace of mind, if you know what I mean. So I personally didn't think about it. Maybe I should have done. I don't know.
I don't personally. I'll go ahead.
I watched it with my parents, and they were like, "Oh, what's on the piece of paper?" I was like, "It's not important."
Point.
Like, because there's nothing going to be satisfying enough for you as a viewer to actually see it. Like, it says, I love you or something. Like, why does it matter? It doesn't matter to you. It matters a lot to him, but not to you. So why do you need to see
exactly.
it?
That's what I
what was on the note are the coordinates for a secret North Korean prison base. Now, the ghost must travel to North Korea, locate this base on the coordinates, free the prisoners without being detected. That is the sequel to the film. The whole film was just the setup.
That's where he vanished to at the end. He's teleported.
No, yeah, I kind of totally agree with you that it's like it doesn't matter, and that's why I kind of think that there was nothing written on the bit of paper at all, because it's kind of like that. It's not what he's not. I don't think he's trying to find like that. She's like written something for him on the bit of paper, because why on earth would she do that? Like, why would she write a message and put it in a wall like that? I don't know, but I just think it's something that he is desperately trying to.
It's an itch on the back.
He's desperately trying.
She
to
does mention it
because
she does write on it, though.
Because
she does mention the Sorry, no, go. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
just quickly make-
because it's a
just at
piece
the
of
start.
her. Yeah.
I suppose.
But either way, like it doesn't matter what's written.
No,
so-
I was just going to say, like, that's his final memory of her. That bit of
Yeah.
paper is like symbolic of his entire
Mm.
memory, because over this whole odyssey and like years, like I think it's been like thousands of years, like he may have even forgotten anything else.
Yeah.
So that's just what
I
kind
think
of
one
interpreted
thing-
it as.
He's obsessed with living in this house and he doesn't want to leave, right?
Yeah.
And I think the note kind of, and the years that he spent away from, not away from the house, but away from what he thought, like he at the time thought the house was what he wanted to stay with, but I think it was actually Rooney's character that he probably was more attached to. And I think that her leaving a bit of her in the house kind of helped him to overcome the upset about leaving the house in the first place.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting also how the day he leaves the house, or the day they're due to leave the house, he dies.
Yeah.
But the night after, or the morning after.
Like that was what was on his mind at the time, was his anxiety around leaving the house.
Yeah.
and then that's the last thought he's left with when he dies.
Yeah.
So he wakes up going, "Oh, I better get back home."
Ben, what were you gonna say?
One thing I wanted to talk about was quite early on.
The guy sat there with his hand up.
This happens quite early on. He like is in the hospital scene, and he goes to the wall, and then the big like light door opens.
So yeah.
What was that?
That was his
I think it was a
Clue.
choice. It's his first
He chose
choice,
not
wasn't
to go
it?
to the afterlife because he wasn't
He did
finished on this world.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
What did you
Fair
think?
enough. Fair enough, mate.
I
That's
mean,
not what it is.
I
That's
sort
what I
of
thought it was.
hadn't really thought about it that much. That's why I was.
Yeah, I just thought I was like, that's kind of weird.
I was
that
like, and
the
then
ghost is doing that.
It
But
showed his perspective, and it looked sick as fuck with all the different lights. I was like,
Oh yeah. It's like Charlie's bedroom right now. It's the lights on.
yeah, literally.
this is heaven, guys.
Can we-
I'm so happy to be locked down.
I wanna
I get to stay here all the time.
I want to say the shot that I want to do, and no one else is saying it, so I'm going to kick it off. Right,
Oh, are we on
quickly after. Well, I'm going to have to say it because I don't want anyone else to steal this one from me. What's the shot?
Can
What's
you
the
post
shot?
it in chat so we can see what you're referring to?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yes.
This
So-
bad boy.
Let's have a look.
Lovely one.
Yeah.
It's
That one
just.
does stand out.
Yeah. My eyes started to melt when I looked at that. Actually. Because it's from the really wide long shot beforehand with the little ghost going across, and then just this, like the whole greenery, and then him standing up from it. He just looks quite omnipotent, I think.
Yeah.
Or like
Ooh.
not omnipotent, but like that's just a long word I chose to use because of the podcast. But I don't know. I just really liked it. So
You have to use
Yeah,
longer
that's what I
words to
thought.
show that you have a bigger penis than everyone else.
yeah, well, we have doing videos, so I can show it if you want.
No.
What?
Daniel!
No! No!
Has anyone got a special shot in mind that they would want?
Is this
to-
the
Yes.
what's the shot?
Go, Charlie, then go. You're
Oh,
Oh, wait.
no. I shot the
Wait.
film.
Wait, what do you mean? Should I just tell you what my favourite shot was?
yeah,
Leave it
yeah.
in chat.
Just tell us.
Oh,
Or just
And
tell
tell
us
don't have it
us.
on me.
Describe it. Okay, describe it.
The one at the end after he falls, and then doesn't she like go back and the light is on
yes.
the weird reflection, like refracted light on the wall and
Yeah.
stuff. And I don't know why. I just thought that was really
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
I've seen that light on the wall. There's another film I watched fairly recently, and I the whole way through, from the very start when I saw it, I was trying to put my finger on what the film was, but something else uses that same idea of like a prism putting light onto a wall. I can't put
Is it Inception?
I don't
It feels
think.
like Inception does that.
It
I don't know
doesn't.
what it was. So if any of you,
I
can-
watched it recently. I didn't
I
see
watched
that.
it the other day. I can't remember.
Let me.
Right, so-
Maybe you just weren't looking for it, Dan.
Well,
Yeah.
this was my favourite shot where he's looking out the window and it like.
Mm,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The house.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's trapped in the house.
yeah.
God, I can't decide which mine is. Like, there's actually just so many stunning,
It is really well
stunning
shot.
shots
The whole
that
thing is
hold
nice.
so much emotional power in this film that I'm struggling to pick one. I think there was one that I might have remembered this wrong, but like I think there's a bit where he like falls to the floor and like puts his hat, like tries to get the bit of paper, but he like can't because of obviously he's under the sheet, and I was just like, oh, that is just devastating, isn't it? Like I was just like,
Well,
damn.
after the house gets built, smashed down.
No, I think it's like quite soon after she leaves. He like
And he's
like
literally trying to get out.
falls to the floor and he tries to get it, but it's just like he can't.
It
Too
ain't
late.
happening.
Yeah, I just thought that
I
was
think
sad.
it's not my favorite, but because I like a lot of the shots, but one that does stand out to me is it's when I think it's the song that is it Thesaurus Tus or something?
Yeah, Ben. Yeah.
If that's how it's said.
Not sure.
Definitely not. So you know the concrete building, the skyscraper is built on top of where they used to live, and then it plays through that part, and then he's standing on the edge of the skyscraper in this like futuristic city,
Yeah.
and when it shows him from behind. Right, Siri.
Gonna have to cut that out again. 2 weeks in a row.
Strike two. So
Yeah.
if you do it one more time, you got it.
It's the shot when the ghost's in front of you on the ledge, and then it pans down, and you see just like the vast expanse
City.
of this building below. And I don't know, with that song at the same time, it just like something makes your heart go like, oh my.
Mate, the soundtrack to this film is utterly phenomenal.
Yeah,
So-
And it needed to be as well. The fact is, it had to be carried by some sort of soundtrack because, there's no talking in it pretty much.
yeah.
They got
Very
Daniel Hart.
very little.
Very
So like, but
So,
like,
sweeping.
it didn't. Yeah,
Emotion.
like it was at some points just like really subtle and cool. Like I was going to talk about this. At the start when they get in bed after.
That one? No. Okay. So
Let my
Daniel.
Sorry.
Anyway, at the start, after they get in bed after the noise outside caused by the ghost, and the soundtrack actually has like a heartbeat in its like really like low end. It's quite deep though, but like you can sort of feel it instead of like it's not like obnoxious, but like you can still
the background.
hear it.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
and
know
it just like gets quicker and like stuff like that.
I had a subwoofer when I watched this film, and I could feel it in the floor, the heartbeat. It was bloody lovely.
You can feel it in your knee joints.
It was bloody nice little bit of foot massage. That lovely.
that bit where he shows her his
The
song.
song. Oh, slaps!
Absolutely.
I downloaded
slaps.
it.
That kills me.
I've added
That
it to my
actually kills
playlist.
me.
And then when it comes back at the end, like a stripped down version of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
you see like the fleeting memories of their life together.
It just hurts.
Why?
Jeez.
Hats off to them with the acting as well, because that scene especially was one that really hit me when she has the headphones on and they're just like, she's looking around, they make a little bit of eye contact. Basically, nothing happens, you just hear the music. But like, it felt like there was.
Go on, keep talking.
Keep talking, Ben.
No, we can't. When we get copyrighted, we won't get paid.
Probably.
Why are we trying to monetize it? Oh god, we're here for the vibes, man.
No,
Pick
you're
up Daniel
right,
Hart.
but we might get taken
we-
down.
Why don't we just
Right now.
Carry
we
on,
could
no,
just
Ben.
message? Okay, fine.
We'll
Sorry.
just message a ghost. We'll just message a
Okay,
ghost
I wasn't
story.
No, yeah.
No, I wasn't even listening.
I think Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney Mara is such an underrated actress. I think.
God knows how many pies she had to eat if she messed up a take of
Bro,
the
what did she
the
do?
10-minute pie take.
I actually want to eat some pie now. What kind of pie was it? Can we?
It was
I think it was a pumpkin pie,
Mm.
A what
very
pie?
disgusting.
cream pie.
It's like, bruv, her partner just died. You're not going to like splash out with a little bit of sugar in the pie or something. I don't know.
She got cream pied. Right
Maybe-
after he died.
Maybe me.
But disrespect.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck's sake.
Just sticking to the cinematography overall for a second. The cinematography, the lighting. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Ben.
Carry on, Ben.
I
Come
don't,
on.
I don't know specifically what it is about the lighting, but there's something really soft about it. Like that with it, I'm guessing it is shot on film. It looks like it is.
Yeah,
Mm.
it is.
Definitely.
There's something so soft. I don't know what it is, but it's like, and
It's
with
very
the
warm.
performance,
There's nothing harshly lit in this
yeah,
film.
it's all just
Mm.
like one shot just melts into another.
It just
Yeah.
adds to that relaxing vibe for me. Like,
It's really quite. It almost seems like
so ambient. It's such an
ambient or like naturalistic. Like
Yeah, it's
I don't know if
such
it
an
all was.
ambient-
Oh,
real
I loved
lighting.
the toy gun.
Oh,
Yeah.
Where he fired the toy
Oh.
gun and it cut to the strobe with the
That's a
red.
banger.
Oh.
I find that
Okay,
a very
never mind. That's
creepy-
my favourite shot. It's my
I
favourite
think that's
shot.
a very creepy shot as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the
I was-
one scary sort
I
of
was
bit,
like,
isn't it?
what's this nonsense?
You
I
get,
w-
you
I
see,
was
you
like-
see his like angry side, don't you?
Yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
why are you acting out? Like, they didn't deserve this. You're breaking all their fine china and you know it. Like,
Yeah.
you're just being a knob because you realised you can.
Yeah.
Like when the female, when she kisses that guy who takes her home from wherever they were, I found it really interesting how he's sitting there getting all angry, but then the consequence of his anger when he lashes out and the books fall off the shelf is on a completely like different day, like that jump in time,
Yeah.
one
Mm.
emotion that he was showing.
Yeah.
It's like
What did the book say? I didn't pick anything out of that book apart
Oh, I
from
was
to do
literally
with
paused
treasure.
it and
That's
read
for a
it.
rewatch. That is for the rewatch, I think.
Yeah.
I just
it
let
did,
that
I was
happen.
watching it on Prime. It did say what it was. I think it
Oh,
linked
what,
back to-
on Amazon X-Ray?
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't-
Bless up Amazon X-Ray.
The main thing it focuses on is it says like the treasure is yours, the treasure yours
Yeah,
or something.
like something like that, isn't it? And safe. Safe,
Something I
safe,
was-
safe.
Yeah.
It's the same book.
Hey,
You know, at the start. At the start.
Sorry,
What are you
Ben.
saying?
At the start.
Oh, bruv. Okay, wait.
Virginia Woolf, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. What is that quote actually?
It's the same book as the quote from the start of the film before you see it.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, and the bit
What
I
is
love
that
that at the
Virginia
start
Woolf
with the quote, the actual
From the
quote fades away, and it just says a haunted house.
Yeah.
Wow.
The quote was,
Sorry, go on, Tom.
whatever,
I don't remember the
is-
quote.
whatever hour you woke, there was a door shutting.
That's it.
So there you go.
What did you guys
Oh,
think of
haunted
Society?
house.
Continuum of life and death.
What did you say, Ben?
Countess.
The aspect ratio with the curved edges? I don't know what you'd call that, but what was your opinion on that? Because I feel like a lot of people that I've seen in reviews have sort of said how it's a bit pretentious, like unnecessary.
Well,
But I
if
just
it
Like a
was
Discord chat.
if it was the actual like film,
See these bezels here.
Yeah.
I'm
No, but
stuck in a
if it-
ghost story.
if it was like the actual film, if it was added in, then I'm a bit like, I
Finn,
kind of see
Let me out.
Sky man.
Speak for
I'd say if they added it in, then I kind of see what people are saying because it's like
Tickle, tickle.
I don't know.
But they
Yeah,
definitely
I don't
added
think it
that
was-
in, like the rounded edges.
Tickle, tickle.
I don't know. I don't think it like it wouldn't be too deep,
Under his armpit.
but then it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't affect me either way. I don't think.
What were your thoughts on it, Ben?
I just think it sort of worked with the lighting and everything. It just adds to that softness. Like it doesn't feel like it's almost like you're looking through a keyhole.
Oh yeah, of course.
Things that are going on.
Soft.
It's not like you're watching it doesn't feel digital or anything. It just feels like a.
I saw
Yeah, I
I
think
saw
it's
this
just simple.
one. I saw because like I watched the film, and the first thing I do when I watch any film is immediately go to youtube.com/Chris Stuckman reviews, and watch the Chris Stuckman Lord Chris review it.
I hope you're all
and I was getting Lord Chris's opinion. He really liked the film too. I was like, okay, so I did like the film. So thank you for my opinion.
I
And
love
then
that confirmation of you're right. It's like,
yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
I was like, thank God. I knew I liked that one. Scrolled down, and then the first comment was like the aspect ratio with the curved edges was supposed to be, or at least they thought it was. There's no ends to it because everything it loops because with straight lines
Yeah,
they
it's
come
like
to
a-
ends.
I've changed
Yeah.
my mind within like a
It's like a
minute.
loop.
It would be a 1 out of 10 if they didn't have rounded edges.
Fair enough.
I think it's just that whole observation
Carries a film.
perspective. Like that whole, especially, I don't know what aspect ratio it is. What is it, like
4:3? It's 4:3, yeah.
Something like that.
With rounded edges.
Yeah, it's like I said, like you're through a keyhole, you're just sort of watching unravel.
It's a very subjective view at eternity.
Is he reading something?
Yeah,
Are you reading
that's a
something?
very good way of putting it,
Really
Tom. You should
not.
put that on Letterboxd.
Just on Wikipedia. Yeah, it's just what does 4:3 aspect ratio mean?
What I was
Jamie, pull that up.
What I was actually looking up, right, was that the pie was not chocolate. Oh fuck! I fucked it. The pie was not pumpkin
chocolate.
flavored. It was chocolate flavored, and it was.
I knew it.
Oh.
That's what I said that earlier. Rewind.
Fuck. Okay, and the other thing that was quite interesting is that from the second she takes her first bite to her last to when she runs off is exactly 4 minutes.
This is a film podcast.
We are film bros.
Sorry,
Another
man.
thing that it made me, another thing.
How my stomach hurts.
It's in the bin. It's in the bin. Oh my god, he's mute Devon. Ben, you have the floor, mate. You have the floor.
Yeah, go for it then.
The curved edges. Another thing I thought after seeing some reviews saying like there's no point in it, whatever, is it makes me think about the fact that film obviously has like things that are standardized, like you've got specific aspect ratios, all that stuff. But like, why does a film have to have anything like that? Like, it could literally be anything. You could have it in a circle, like
that's what I was going to say. Like,
it's just it's moving image.
When they say it's pretentious to have curved edges,
Yeah.
well, clearly they were shooting the film and they thought, you want them curved or you want them with corners? And they thought, I think curved will look nice. They went, curved? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then they shot the film with curved.
Yeah.
And then now you're complaining that it's pretentious.
now-
It's just a decision by
You're
the
the pretentious
filmmakers,
one.
you idiot.
It's like if someone makes a film and they want to have it all inverted, yeah, it probably isn't a great idea, but it's their thing. Like they
It's
can
the,
do it.
it's the rectangular elitists.
It's the 16:9 elite group of just anything that's not that is pretentious.
Is there any film that you guys saw and thought that's wrong? Did you like
Just before that, wait. Rooney Mara had never eaten pie before filming the scene in which she ate an entire pie. So
That's an
quite
interesting
interesting.
fact. What the hell?
that was her first ever taste of pie.
Probably why she threw up.
What were you saying, Ben?
Sorry.
I was just curious if you guys picked out anything that you saw that was sort of incorrect bloopers.
What bloopers?
Yeah.
No, I'm so bad with spoiling bloopers normally.
Wait, do you mean bloopers or things we didn't like?
Bloopers, like something wrong.
Continuity errors.
I didn't see any.
Yeah, I don't really see them anyway. I think I'm just an oblivious fool. It's like,
He suspends his
Yeah.
disbelief, loves belief.
I'm
You have
just
to
like,
rewatch to sort of see a lot of stuff, don't you? So
yeah, true.
Why did you see something?
What did you notice, Ben?
well, maybe it made sense, but it didn't in my head, not with my understanding of physics, was when it's looking at the house, you've got the smoke going across the screen from
Yep.
right. The car's on the right, the wind's blowing
The right.
the car, but the smoke's going the opposite way, basically.
Oh wait,
From where it
maybe
should-
there was a thing.
The smoke was set on the left side of the camera when the car was on the right side of the camera.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense for the smoke to come
But
from the left
that-
to the right.
That can't be continuity because they're not that retarded.
No,
But
they
it
are.
was a really good
They
day.
were.
They wanted to use that light and everything. The wind just happened to be going the wrong way.
Nah, no
Okay,
way.
What I was going to say is
I think
I
it's about the continuum of it all.
I have a gripe with that shot though.
What's
Yeah, you
that?
can answer it anyway.
I've got a bone to pick with this shot.
Yeah.
Is that I've seen a shot like this before. A very similar shot like this before
In what?
in a
Hollowed
little
Mind.
film. You might not have seen it. It's called The Hollowed Mind, right? Which is the same film. They remade The Hollowed Mind with a sheet, and it's instead of fake blood, and that's it.
Something that I thought was quite sick. Whilst
They
watching
copied our
this.
exposition.
They copied our exposition scene.
Was that the same minute?
Yeah, no. Something that I thought was quite sick about watching this was like, I could see like how much it's inspired like you specifically, Ben, like as a creative person. Like after now seeing Ghost Story and then looking at some of your work, I'm like, like that film means so much to you. Like,
yeah, like it's had a big impact because I spend so much bloody time thinking about it. Like that film's always in my head, so I was like, I might as well
Plagiarise
use
it.
it as a bit of inspiration.
I'm joking.
I didn't hear you.
he said you just ripped off everything Ghost Story did.
Yeah, pretty much. Damn it, I put two.
Plagiarism isn't real.
No, but it's definitely had a big impact on me, like mentally and in terms of what I'm doing with my work at the moment. It's
At benhuber.com.
Say again.
.co.uk.
Ben.co.uk.
I'm now on it.
benhuber.co.uk. Yeah. We'll have a link on Craig just there. Yeah. Also, sorry, I've got to backtrack a little bit to another thing that I saw that didn't seem quite correct. When it's the same car shot, when it then shows his head on the steering wheel, they've clearly like bashed the car up to make it look like it's been in a crash. There's a massive, you can see where they've whacked a sledgehammer or something on the very center of the front glass windscreen. Thank you. And his head is on the steering wheel. Like it's nowhere near where he was when he crashed. But like they've obviously just made the glass break.
I don't think it's that important.
Yeah.
This is because
To be honest,
it's my fourth time watching it, so it's like so.
Yeah, so you've seen all that stuff.
My point about the smoke is I don't think that can't be continuity, because even we're not that dumb. Like no one makes that mistake.
Maybe it
They
didn't
would have just not had smoking, or
That's
they would have done
maybe it's the
CG
thing
smoke.
they're not bothered about, because I'm not bothered by it. I just sort of saw it and thought, interesting.
Yeah.
You know what the craziest thing about this film is, though?
What?
That it was made for $100,000.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible. They spent their budget excellently.
That blows my mind.
Or did they just use it on Casey Affleck?
Did they build the house? I know.
That's what
I
I
think
mean.
they
must have built the houses.
Demolished anyway.
Yeah, I was
think
like,
they
it must
found one that
have.
was gonna
It
get
must have just been so like circumstantially perfect. They must have found like a house that was getting destroyed. Like,
And David Lowery used the money, not all of it, but some money he got off the production of Pete's Dragon, some of that profit. So that was what funded the film. So he must have had to sit in the head, like just waiting until he made another film that could bring in the money to then make that.
Yeah,
which is quite cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see The Green Knight after watching this, because now
that's what I was thinking.
I rewatched the trailer and I'm like, mate, it looks so sick.
Yeah.
Like again, just the cinematography, like this, whoever this guy is, I've forgotten his name, Pedro or something, was it? But mate, he's decent. He's a decent little guy.
Talking about the trailer, did any of you watch the trailer before you watched the film? Or
I went into this film completely blind, other than stills that you guys have showed me.
Yeah, because one thing I find quite interesting about the trailer is that it puts everything on the table. It doesn't hide anything in the film, but because of the type of film it is, you're not like, there's no spoilers, because it's the sort of film you can bring spoilers in. So he could just put in like all the good stuff.
Nothing happens.
And essentially nothing.
I fully reckon you could explain to someone the entire plot of the film, and then show them the film, and they will still break down crying at the end of it.
It's an experience.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter what the film's about. It's it's literally like a MacGuffin, like it's like, oh, the note, we gotta find the cube, like.
Just want to quickly say his name is Andrew Droz Palermo, not Pedro in any way, shape, or form.
It's the DOP.
Yeah.
Thomas Potter.
It's me. One bit we haven't actually spoken about, but is a part of the film I really love, is after the skyscraper bit, where it's when he goes back to the beginning of the loop again, and it's the people that first went to the land where the house was eventually built.
Yeah.
And like they marked that. I
That's
love
what
that
we're
bit
talking
so
about.
much, especially where the young girl,
Yes,
because
yes.
for one, she's humming the tune that ends up being the
Is she?
song Casey Affleck makes.
I didn't
Oh,
She
realise
hums
that.
that tune.
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I didn't
You're
notice the first time I watched, but I noticed today he hummed it. And then obviously she does the note and then puts it under a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously the bit I love is when he looks away at whatever, and you hear the distant noise of like Native Americans, and then they're all dead, and then bang, 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 she's turned into a skeleton and gone, and then
That
he's back.
that's that editing I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Like,
Yeah.
that is so sick when it's just like quick, ba-bam, ba-bam. Another sick
Good
thing was
stuff.
the bit when she leaves like multiple times. That bit.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought that was
yeah.
cool.
I thought that was so sick.
One thing,
because the masking job there, the camera was like
That by
moving.
Because the
accident.
camera's
the whole time.
moving as
I
well.
was like, mate, that
Yeah.
must have taken so long to edit that together.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. Go ahead, Dan.
answer my question. No, you answered my question with that.
Oh, fair.
Thank you.
Fair.
Thank you so much.
We've so I think we should do ratings now, boys. We rate it.
Yeah, and then quickly wrap it up. We've been going for over an hour now.
Yeah.
Who's
yeah.
next? Oh wait, we'll talk about who's next week.
No, wait, we rate it first, surely.
Ratings.
Yeah.
Okay, ratings. Finn,
Film.
Yeah, Ben, it's your film. You start,
10 out of 10 for me.
and then you pick the next person.
Okay, Finn, what's your opinion?
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Only because of that one little gripe I have with it. Like, that's literally the only thing. And I think it probably will stay as a 9 out of 10, even on multiple rewatches, just because of that. Even though I still think it is unreal. Like, blew my mind a little bit. But yeah. Anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah, Dan?
I'll go next. Yeah. Right. This thing, like my whole kind of point about what I said this podcast was like the second time watching thing. First time I watched it, easily a 10 out of 10. I really loved the film. The second time I watched it, I think it's probably gone down to like maybe a 7. I can't lie, because I think I really enjoyed it so much the first time. The second time kind of ruined it for me. If you know what I mean?
Okay.
That's
So like I just that's I'm gonna say 7 in
Yeah.
total out of 10.
Fair enough.
Tom?
A good film though. I can't dispute that.
Tom?
He's thinking.
I'm saying 10 out of 10, but because I can acknowledge that there are potentially things but if you critique it, a bit like what Finn doesn't like about it, I can acknowledge like that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
just
think
personal
because
preference. isn't it?
it's affected me on such an emotional level, I think more than any other film ever, maybe, I can't say that it's less than a 10. Because for a film to affect me that much, it can't be less.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I totally agree with your view, like on that. Like, if a film like affects you so much, like there's no way it can't be a 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like fully months went by after that film, and I was still in the same headspace that it put me in.
Wow.
Like,
Damn.
honestly, I've never had that.
Go, Charlie, go.
I would have to say 9 out of 10 because I actually agree with what Tom said, but I've had a film have more of an impact on me, as in like a lot more long lasting one. This one was a fat gut punch and like, you know, some good brain thought food,
Brain damage.
you know, for like a bit afterwards, but I got over it pretty quickly.
Okay.
But Boyhood, for example, that's a film that really did like alter the way I, you know, perceived like everything going through to this day. So like I would have to put like something like Boyhood as a 10 out of 10, and then A Ghost Story is like a 9 out of 10 on that, even though A Ghost Story is really, really, really good.
Yeah,
I think I'd be very harsh with a 7, but
there's no denying that it is an incredibly well made film, like across like all sections of it. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Casey Affleck for the Oscar.
Ghost.
You know, well, cool fact, quick cool fact about this film. The second Ghost was the director.
Yeah, I knew that. Saw that in the cast. I was like, oh damn. Yeah.
All right,
Anyway,
what's coming in? What's in store for next week?
right, boysies. For next week's film, I've decided to choose an animated film.
Ooh.
I
Wait,
think it's
what? Oh, yeah, I bet.
I literally told you earlier, Tom.
I'm an idiot.
Oh, I know what it is.
I think it's
Monsters
possibly my second, maybe third favorite animated film ever. It's
The
super,
Secret Life
super
of
Monsters
deep.
University.
Super deep.
Monsters University.
Um,
It's got to be.
What's it called?
it is. It's Such a Beautiful Day by Don Hertzfeldt.
Oh.
Oh,
Ben has already seen it. I know that.
Not seen it.
this
But
film.
yeah,
something
it's only an
to watch.
hour long, so it's quite a quick
Yeah.
watch, and it is another. We're going through a bit of a depressing film run here with these last two, but like
Oh no.
it's super peak, but it's also I think it is more uplifting. It's way more uplifting towards the like certain parts of it. Don't want to spoil it, but like it is also uplifting. Yeah, you do, but I also felt like I kind of liked I really liked how it ended. Like it's got a very strong ending, and it's just super unique and stylized, and I love it, and it's good stuff.
Is it anime or like
No, it's just it's
Pixar
like
animation?
no, it's like I don't think you would have seen anything like it, to be honest.
It's mixed media, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's mental. It's so sick. Like it
What's
looks,
Okay, awesome.
it's like
Sorry,
you
go on.
think it's like so simple at the start, but then it's like you would like I would be like, how the hell has this guy made this sort of thing? You know what I mean?
It's
Cool.
got
Nice.
All right, thank you so much for watching, guys. See you later. Bye bye.
Yeah, like, subscribe.
Bye.
Yeah.